Alright, Arms and Armor Meyer training rapier. Got a blunted trainer here. They're close up on the tip. You get a better idea what it looks like. So we have the wire wrap grip, nice and tight. It's real cold out here. Sometimes when you have a wood core on some of these like wire wrapped ones, it'll expand and contract. But it's pretty cold out here, and this is nice and tight, really good grip. We have a nice cross guard, got little spikes on the end of it. Actually, I just realized the kind of spikes or little accents on the end of here, it matches the pommel. Just noticed that right now. So that's a peen pommel on there. No really wiggling or anything. It's got adequate flex to it. Definitely some safety, obviously, put in mind. You don't want to be hitting people with tempered steel. It doesn't have a bend to it, so even if they do have like a gambeson on or a padded jacket, that's really good on it. Blade length 30 7/8 inches, right before the guard, all the way to the end of the tip. Got 30 inches for some range, no matter how you were using this, going the Spanish style. Maybe you're tucked behind it. Maybe you're all the way back here. I don't know. Depends on what you train. You might train the Meyer material. I do not, but I picked this thing up at work and knew I had to have it. So this is my personal blade, my personal trainer. You'll be seeing more of this in some of the sparring videos I'll be putting up on the Kult of Athena YouTube channel. But yeah, we'll get back to the blade. Overall length is 36 1/8 inches from the very tip of the pommel all the way to the end. So we have, again, you see it's a pretty long blade. Not by standards of a rapier, but I was measuring some of my Filipino blades, and it's actually twice the length from the very end to the very end. It's double the length of a Filipino blade. It's probably because of environment. This is something more you would use in like an open field or in a dueling perspective, more so than like this, where it's much more close quarters, much more jungle environment, I guess you could say. So yeah, let's do some close-ups of it. You'll see some scratches on the blade. I dropped it. So that's to be expected. Steel quality, almost forgot that. Other than this being adequately flexible, 16150 high carbon steel. So if you're not familiar with that steel, that is a very, very high grade steel for swords. Obviously, if you have moisture on the blade, whether it's a training blade or not, you want to make sure that you have some abrasion pads. We have a rust pad set available at Kult of Athena as well. So if you do get a little bit of like brown corrosion on it, you can just kind of wipe that off and then add some Hanway spray or some Renaissance wax to preserve that. So for live blades and for high carbon steel trainers as well. 6150 high carbon steel is what Albion uses for their live blades, and Arms and Armor also uses for their live blades as well. And I'll tell you this, you know, a lot of trainers, not a lot of trainers, just the trainers that I've picked up and moved around with how I know how to use a sword. The balance, it feels like a training sword. So there's a separation of the training sword to the original, or to like a reproduction that was, you know, properly balanced. You could tell, like, oh, you pick it up, this is a training sword. This is not the case with this one. This one has an excellent balance to it. I don't know what the point of balance is, but we're gonna find out right now. There you go, pretty close to the guard, relatively close. Speaking of the guard, like I said before, it's got the rapier cross guard to it. It has this guy on the side. I don't know the actual specific name. I know for messers it's a nail, but you'll see this on sabers sometimes, where it'll cover the outside line. That way you don't have a blade ride down and cut your fingers off, which is a plus. And then we have the knuckle guard as well, covering the second knuckle lining just about. way if you do something like you put your hand in there at the wrong time, you have a little bit of an insurance policy. I wouldn't suggest relying on that, but it's just something, not only is it functional, but it is beautiful as well. You also have that with in close quarters when you're going into the break-ins, hitting people with the pommel in close quarters. You also have that. So there's a lot of application. Looks good, doesn't feel good for your opponent, but very functional blade here. So I'm gonna kind of move around with it right now, do some slashing, do some thrusting with it, and let's see what happens. Another thing to mention too about the grip, this thing is almost 3 pounds. I think it's like 2 pounds, 3.8 ounces. Don't quote me on the ounces. I know it's a little bit over 2 pounds. So the slashing, when it's more broad, it takes a little bit more time. So, I mean, of course you have like little manipulation cuts to break the time and everything. So you also have that. The grip, I kind of mentioned this in the other video when I had my fencing jacket on. You could obviously go full grip, and at your own discretion. This is just an experimentation for me. I'm also playing with it where the forefinger is here. You'll kind of see that more with like when the whole hand is protected, like the Arms and Armor 3-ring rapier. You have the option to do this, where you grab it with the forefinger and the thumb. I'm doing that to stabilize the tip of the weapon. I've noticed that if you go a hammer grip, it's not bad, but you got to use the shoulder a little bit more if you need to redirect the line, or if you needed to turn your hand to parry, or just protect it. This seems to be a little bit easier to move, just a little bit, but it's an experimentation, so I'm going to play with it. If you like this video, like seeing the Arms and Armor Meyer training rapier, go ahead and leave me a comment below on what you think about it. If you do any kind of rapier fighting, I'll be doing a little bit more and diving into more of the HEMA material into the new year, 2017. So if you like this video, share it. Let me know what you want to see, of course. Training blades, gambesons, armor. We'll do more armor this year too. I actually want to do, we were planning last year to do like full suits of armor and like actually break it down. So if you want to see that, comment below. It's kind of hard right now to do like a lot more armor videos as far as like testing them, like smashing things basically. One, because I haven't had a camera guy, and two, because it's really cold out. I got lucky today. It's like 35, 40 degrees out right now in Chicago, and you know, take advantage of it. But in the meantime, let me know, comment below, subscribe to the channel. I'll talk to you soon.